a new session, and in this session we are going to cover weekly current affair which is happened in past week. So 14 to, you can say, 14 to 19th June. Okay, and first of all I'm going to tell you about what will I cover in upcoming you can say lesson. So let's discuss. First of all I will cover, okay, his content. So first of all I will cover the topic according to mains and prelims. So for mains I will discuss Chhatrapati Shivaji Coronation Day anniversary. Then after that, I will discuss relevance of G7 Summit 2021 for India, and it is very important topic for your upcoming examination. And then I will discuss 76 United Nations General Assembly election, okay, and its new president. And then the information technology rules 2021 and conflict of interest. And friends, four films will cover China artificial sun. Then also we'll discuss and China artificial sun. Okay, it is important for science and technology. Then Niti Aayog release of Sustainable Development Index. Okay, India Index and Dashboard 2021. And then what is the G7 corporate tax deal means for India? Then in economy, we'll discuss El Salvador's decision to use Bitcoin because Bitcoin is infrequent in use. So we'll discuss, okay. And after that, we'll discuss India elected to UN Economic and Social Council for 2022 to 2020 forms. What will be the impacts and what is the importance for India? Then in international, and it is very important for international relation. Then in a science and tech, there is a new drugs for Alzheimer's. Okay, Alzheimer's disease. Okay, human disease. Then it is important for science and technology, and we'll discuss Sardar Sarovar Dam, and then discovery of new enzyme for cell stability, and SAGE initiative and portal. Then Model Tenancy Act. Okay, it is very important. So we'll discuss one by one. Okay, and if you'll face any problem, you can ask me. You can raise your hand and you can comment, and I will, okay, reply your answer as soon as possible. So let's start. First of all, friends, first of all, we are going to cover, okay, जो early life of Shivaji, that means की first topic, and the first topic is Chhatrapati Shivaji Coronation Day anniversary. It is very important for your upcoming examination. Okay. So first of all, friends, we'll discuss what is the importance, what is the context, okay, and this is important for general studies paper 1 for history. And friends, so let's start. First of all, let's discuss the context, okay, and after that I will tell you about the background. So what is the context? The Maharashtrian community in India, okay, was celebrating, you can say, ki Shivrajya or Shivrajya Abhishek on 6th June, a day when Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was crowned as a king of Maratha Swaraj in 1974. And the event proved to be watershed moment in Maratha history, as it also marked the beginning of Hindavi Swaraj in India. So this is the context. Now let's discuss the background. The background, what is the background? The day is celebrated widely in Maharashtra. Okay, the day is celebrated widely in Maharashtra. So you'll have to keep in mind widely in Maharashtra because Shivaji ji is related to Maharashtra. Okay, widely in Maharashtra. So you'll have to keep in mind. Okay. And then friends, also you can say ki especially in Raigad. Okay, so Shivaji belongs to Raigad, where locals organize a coronation ceremony for Shivaji at Raigad Fort. So UPSC can ask, where is Raigad Fort? So you will have to keep in mind Raigad Fort located in Maharashtra. Okay. So can you comment what is the rank of Maharashtra according to census? What is the rank of Maharashtra according to census? Anyone? Please comment what is the rank of Maharashtra according to census? Do you have any idea? Meena Khosla ji first. Okay, anyone? Maharashtra rank is second. So first rank is UP. Okay. So UP has lump sum 20 crore. Okay. Population. Maharashtra 12 crore. And then after that Bihar. Okay. 10 crore 40 lakh 99,452. So you'll have to keep in mind. So now, okay. So now let's discuss next thing. So I have told you the day is celebrated widely in Maharashtra, especially in Raigad, where local organize a coronation ceremony for Shivaji at Raigad Fort. And this year, Shivaji Rajyabhishek ceremony will be graced by the presence of rare coin Hoan. Okay, rare coin Hoan. So UPSC can ask. So one is a term in the news. What is the meaning of one? So you'll have to keep in mind what is the meaning of one. One is a coin. Okay, one is a rare coin that is a part of antiques of Shivaji Maharaj era. Or also you can say one is a coin which is related to Shivaji Maharaj era. Okay. So now let's discuss the analysis part of this topic. So first of all, we'll cover early life of Shivaji. First of all, we'll cover early life of Shivaji. Shivaji was the great, okay. And the Shivaji was the founder of Maratha Empire. Shivaji was the founder of Maratha Empire. And he was born in Bhosle Maratha clan to, okay, Shahaji and Jijabai on 19th February 1630 in the hill fort of Shivneri, which towers over the town of Junar in northern part of Pune district. So Shivaji, okay, was the founder of Maratha Empire. So who was the founder of Maratha Empire? Shivaji was the founder of Maratha Empire. And what was the name of Shivaji fathers? Shivaji father's name was Shivaji Maharaj. And okay, Shivaji Maharaj, that means Bhosle. And also you can say ki Shivaji Maharaj related to Bhosle clan. Okay. And the father was Shahaji and the mother was Jijabai. And what was the date of Shivaji Maharaj? So you will have to keep in mind Shivaji Maharaj born on 19th February 1630. 19th February 1630 in the hill fort of Shivneri. Okay. So now Shivneri is also important. You will have to keep in mind Shivneri, okay, located in Maharashtra in Pune. Shivneri, okay, located in Maharashtra, Pune. And then friends, on account of his military powers, okay, and ambitious spirit, Chhatrapati Shivaji father Raja, okay, Shahaji Bhosle became an important chief whose service were coveted by Nizam Shah, okay, whose service were coveted by Nizam Shah, and the Adil Shah of Bijapur and the Mughals alike. You'll have to keep in mind. So Bijapur is also important. Okay, you'll have to keep in mind. We'll cover in upcoming history classes what was the importance of Bijapur, what was the importance of Raigad, what was the importance of Shivneri. Okay, so after that, friends, in his early days, okay, Chhatrapati Shivaji set upon himself the task of first establishing a firm control over all parts of his father's Jagir. What was the Jagir? What is the meaning of Jagir? What is the meaning of Jagir? Do you know what was the meaning of Jagir? What is the meaning of Jagir? Jagir was famous in medieval history. Yes, anyone?
सर द असिस्टेंट ऑफ द होल की जो मतलब जो एक राजा होते हैं उनके नीचे जो होते हैं उनका जागीर को मतलब जागीर बोलते हैं.
ओके.
जो सर जो पूरा टोटल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम मतलब राजा के नीचे जो संभालते हैं इनडायरेक्टली.
ओके, चलिए, आपने बोला कि जागीर जो है एक राजा के सिस्टम जो है नीचे संभालते हैं.
सर यस सर जागीर वो है जो जिनको सर कुछ जमीन दिया जाता है राजा और महाराजा की तरफ से गिफ्ट के हिसाब से.
यस, ओके, वेरी गुड. यस यस, वेरी गुड. जागीर वाज द पार्ट ऑफ लैंड. ऑल्सो यू कैन से कि जागीर जो है वो आपके गिफ्ट में दिया जाता था, ओके, बाय द किंग्स. So you'll have to keep in mind Jagir was the gift, or also you can say Jagir was the part of land. Jagir was the part of land. और Jagir ये भी कहते हैं donation. Okay, so you'll have to keep in mind. So let's discuss the next points. Okay, so I have told you that Chhatrapati Shivaji set upon himself the task of first establishing a firm control over all parts of his father's Jagir. That means कि जो शिवाजी जी के जो पिता थे उनके जो जागीर था, उनका जो पूरा एरिया था, ओके, हम लोग कह सकते पूरा जो लैंड था उसके ऊपर शिवाजी जी ने कोशिश किया कि वो अपना एक कंट्रोल जो है इस्टेब्लिश कर सके। And for this, Shivaji, okay, also you can say for this, it was necessary to secure possession of the hill forts within the Jagir. Okay. Also, you can say for security purpose, hill fort was one of the most important aspects. So Shivaji ji tried to establish hill forts within the Jagir, hill forts within the Jagir. And after that, Chhatrapati ji, okay, also you can say that Chhatrapati Shivaji first secured possession of Torna Fort, okay, first secures possession of Torna Fort from its Bijapuri commanded through some, okay, stratagem. So you'll have to keep in mind. Now, next fort is Torna Fort. Next fort is Torna Fort. I will ask you, okay. So you'll have to give me the answer. You'll have to reply. And friends, the ground fort of Chakan, okay, guarding the road to Pune from the north, was secured by winning over the loyalty of its commandant, while the hill fort of, okay, Kondan better known as Singar, near Pune was secured by diplomatic moves. Diplomatic moves by the, you can say, becoming friends, okay, by the way of donating, you can say, rupees, donating some parts. So you have to keep in mind. So this is the early life of Shivaji ji. This is the early life of Shivaji ji. We have discussed a few aspects of early life of Shivaji ji, and it is very important for your upcoming examination. Now let's discuss the coronation of Shivaji ji at Raigad Fort. Okay, so you'll have to keep in mind. So you can say कि it was Visheshwar, okay, alias Gaga Bhatt, one of the most venerable priest of his time, who urged Chhatrapati Shivaji to crown himself ceremonially. Okay, and Raigad was the most important part for Shivaji. You can say कि powers. And Raigad, the impregnable fort in Kolab district on the Konkan coast, had already been chosen by Chhatrapati Shivaji to be his capital because why? Because it was nearly, okay, equidistant from Pune. Also, you can say it was nearly to Pune, Satara, and Bombay. Pune, Satara, and Bombay was, you can say, okay, have to keep in mind who was the Gagavad. Gagavad was the priest during Shivaji period. Okay, during Shivaji period. And Raigad was the most important fort in Kolab district. In Kolab district on the Konkan coast. Okay, on the Konkan coast. And already, okay, you can say he had already been chosen by Chhatrapati Shivaji to be his capital because it was nearly from Pune, Satara, and Bombay. Okay, Pune, Satara, and Bombay. Okay, and hence it was ideally situated for directly military as well as maritime. Directly military and maritime. In how many states India has coast? अपने जो भारत के कितने राज्यों में तट हैं? Do you know in how many state has coast? Anyone? अपने भारत के कितने राज्यों में जो तट है? So आप लोग को जो basic, you'll have, okay, you should cover basic. Okay, so in Indian states, how many?
7, sir.
In how many state has coast? Coast. कितने राज्यों के पास तट हैं?
9, sir.
7 sir.
9.
Okay, yeah, 9. Okay, you should keep in the mind 9 states. So now let's discuss. So I have told you for administration. Okay, for administration, military is important aspects. Maritime is also important aspects. You should keep in the mind. Okay. Then just a minute, friends. Yes. Now let's discuss important point. Next important point. I have told you for administration, military is one of the most important parts. Okay. Then maritime is also important. You know the importance of maritimes for India. What is the importance of maritime for India? I will discuss in upcoming lesson. Okay. And friends, I have told you coronation at Raigad Fort. Okay. Shivaji was formally crowned as the Chhatrapati. Chhatrapati means emperor. Emperor means king. Okay. Chhatrapati means emperor, or also you can say king of his realm at Raigad on 6 June. Okay, 6 June 1674 for the first time, and on September 24, 1670 for the second time. So you'll have to keep in mind there was 2 times when Shivaji, okay, also you can say कि शिवाजी जी जो है 2 बार आपके क्या हुए थे, सिंहासन पे बैठे थे या उनका कोरोनेशन जो है हुआ था. First was 6 June. First was on 6 June 1674, and the second one, okay, September 24, 1674. So you will have to keep in the mind. This is very, very important. Okay. So now, why this event is historically historically significant? What is the relevance? So we'll discuss. Okay, what is the significant? So let's discuss. Okay, the significance of this day. So Shivaji was given the title of Saka Karta, and he also took the title of also you can say ki Handava, Dharm Dharak, also Dharmo Dharak means protector of Hindu faith, okay. So protector of Hindu faith. Do you know about the Shivaji Museum? Where is Shivaji Museum? Okay, I am giving you option: Uttar Pradesh, then Maharashtra, then also Andhra Pradesh, then Tamil Nadu. Where is Shivaji Museum?
Sir, Maharashtra, sir.
Anyone else? Where is Shivaji Museum?
Sir, Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. Okay, but Maharashtra is not the correct answer. Where is Shivaji Museum?
Tamil Nadu, sir.
Tamil Nadu. Okay, anyone else? Oh, but you'll have to keep in mind, Shivaji Museum is located in Mumbai. We can say ki Maharashtra, but correct answer should be Mumbai. Or Shivaji ji also in news, okay, related to UP, that means ki UP government decision. So you'll have to keep in mind, and you should cover, okay, current affairs, because current affairs is one of the most important aspects for your UPSC examination and also for state service examination. Okay. Please keep in the mind. So this is very, very important. Okay, so please keep in the mind. Now let's discuss the next important next important points for your you can say these topics. So I'm going to discuss what is the what is the significance of this event. So let's discuss. I have told you Shivaji ji was given the title of Saka Karta, and he also took the title of Handev, Dharmo Dharak, that means the protector of the Hindu faith. And Chhatrapati Shivaji ji started a new era, Rajyabhishek Shaka. Also you can say ki Rajyabhishek Shaka from the day of his coronation, and struck a new points, new points, Shivrai Hans in his own names. So maybe UPSC can ask a question related to this. Okay, so Shivrai Hans point is issued by, so Shivrai Hans points was issued by Shiva. Okay, you can say ki Shivaji ji. Then also UPSC can ask which Shaka was started by Shivaji ji. So you'll have to keep in mind Rajyabhishek Shaka was started by Shivaji ji. And the institution of Council of 8 Ministers. 8 Minister means Ashtapradhan. Okay, whenever you will see Ashtapradhan, Ashtapradhan, you should talk about Ashtapradhan, or also you should learn about Ashtapradhan. What is the meaning of Ashtapradhan? So you'll have to keep in mind Ashtapradhan is related to Shivaji administration. Okay, there were 8 ministers. Okay, there were 8 ministers. Also you can say the Council of 8 ministers. Okay, Council of 8 ministers, and with different portfolios. That means the different departments. Okay, but acting under the supreme monarch was formalized. But acting under the supreme monarch was formalized. For example, at present, okay, you can see there is a council of minister in India, okay, but council of minister, who is the head of the council of minister? Okay, I will ask you. Okay, so different types of question in this lesson, and also you can say in upcoming lesson. Okay, if I will cover current affairs, that means I should ask more question for. Okay, so please tell me who is the head of the council of minister?
PM sir.
Okay, prime minister. Okay, so which articles talk about the council of minister in India? Which articles talks about the council of minister in India?
Sir, council of
Article 74, sir.
Yeah, very good, Nirmal ji, very good. Okay, so Article 74 talks about Council of Minister, Minister of India. So Article 74 says there shall be a Council of Minister, okay, and Council of Minister will be headed by Prime Minister. Then in our next Article 75 talks about the appointment of Prime Minister and other Council of Minister, okay. So Article 75 talks about, I have told you ki Prime Minister will be appointed by the President, and on the recommendation of Prime Minister, other Council of Minister also appointed by the President. So can you tell me कि अब Prime Minister is elected or nominated or appointed?
Appointed, sir.
Appointed sir.
Yeah, very good. बहुत very good. So above Prime Minister is appointed. Okay. So in a state legislature, CM is appointed or elected?
Elected sir. No sir, appointed sir. Sorry sir.
Yeah.
Appointed by governor.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So in a state also, CM is appointed by governor. Okay. So now let's discuss the next parts. I have told you what is the importance of this, you can say event for Maharashtra and also for India. So now let's discuss the coronation announced to the world that the political creation of Chhatrapati Shivaji was validated as the work of sovereign, that he had, okay, he was no longer a Jagidar's son or Mughal Mansabdar in revolt. So let's discuss the meaning of sovereign. Okay, meaning of sovereign. What is the meaning of sovereign? Meaning of sovereign, if any country or if any person can take their decision by themselves. So हम लोग कह सकते हैं कि जो संप्रभुता है, okay, there is also Hindi medium student, so I will tell you, okay, I will tell you also in Hindi. So संप्रभुता है कि जब आप अपना डिसीजन खुद से ले सकते हो, आप किसी और से प्रभावित नहीं होते हो, तो उसी को हम लोग सॉवरेनिटी कहते हैं. And sovereign concept was given by whom? Sovereign concept was given by, okay, you will have to keep in mind, Thomas Hobbes. Okay, Hobbes. Sovereign, okay, that means कि concept of sovereignty is most important for any country. If any country is not sovereign, that means country is not democratic. Okay. So what is the meaning of sovereignty? I have told you, if any country can take their decision by themselves, so that is the meaning of sovereignty. So I have told you the coronation, when coronation announced, that means कि Chhatrapati Shivaji, okay, became as a sovereign. Also you can say कि sovereign king, sovereign emperor. So this is the importance of, you can say, coronation ceremony for Raigad for India. So you'll have to keep in mind, this is very, very important. I have told you. Okay. So what was the rule of Shivaji? Now I'm going to tell you about the rule of Shivaji. In a Chhatrapati Shivaji state, political power rested in the highest executive. Okay. Political power rested in the highest executive. And the crown prince through, okay, also you can say the crown prince, though he appointed Asht Pradhan, that means the council of 8 ministers to assist him. Council of 8 ministers to assist him. And in Chhatrapati Shivaji council, no minister possessed overriding authority, and this was left in the hands of the sovereign himself. What was the 8, also you can say 8 council of minister, what was the destination? Now I'm going to tell you. Okay. So first, There was Panth Pradhan, that means ki Peshwa, for example, just also you can say ki Prime Minister. Okay, first in a Ashtpradhan. Now just a minute. Okay, so there was Ashtpradhan, you will have to keep in mind. So first Peshwa, first was Peshwa. Okay, that means ki Panth Pradhan, that means Panth Pradhan. Panth Pradhan. And then there was Amatya or Majumdar. Okay, second. Just a minute, friends. Yes. Now let's discuss. I am going to tell you. Okay. So first I have told you Peshwa, Panth Pradhan. Then there was Amatya. Okay. So Amit, who was the Amatya? UPSC can ask Amatya, or also you can say ki Majumdar, Finance Minister. Amatya, Majumdar, Finance Minister. Okay. Finance Minister. You will have to keep in mind. Then third was, okay, Sachiv. Sachiv means secretary. Third was Sachiv. Sachiv means secretary. Okay, third was Sachiv, secretary. Then fourth was Senapati, Sar-e Naubat. Okay, also you'll have to keep in mind Sar-e Naubat. Sar-e Naubat. That means ki army head. Okay, also you can say Senapati. Senapati. Then there was Sumant or Dabir. Okay, fifth, Sumant and Dabir. Sumant and Dabir. Who was Sumant and Dabir? Sumant and Dabir was foreign minister. Okay, foreign minister. Foreign minister. Foreign minister. And the next one was there is Nyayadhish. Okay, Nyayadhish. So Nyayadhish means Chief Justice. Nyayadhish means Chief Justice. Okay, Chief Justice. So you will have to keep in mind, this is very, very important. Okay, and then there was Vakya Navis. Okay, Vakya, just a minute. Vakya Navis, yeah, Navis, whatever. What is the meaning of this? Interior Minister. Okay, Interior Minister. Interior Minister. Then there was Pandit. Okay, Pandit Rao, highest priest. Okay, Pandit Rao. Pandit Rao. Okay, highest priest, Purohit. Highest priest, Purohit. Okay, so this is very important. These are the parts of the, you can say ki Ashtpradhan. These are the parts of the Ashtpradhan. Okay, so is it clear? Any doubt? Ashtpradhan is clear? Any doubt? Anyone? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
First of all, UPSC can ask, okay, about the Ashtpradhan because Shivaji topic is in news. So please prepare for, you can say ki your upcoming examination. And in this topic, whatever I have taught you, okay, whatever I have covered, whatever I have covered, this is important. But Ashtpradhan is, you can say, most important for your upcoming examination. So friends, now I'm going to tell you about the next जो कहते हैं कि next जो topic है, next जो आपके points है related to Chhatrapati Shivaji. So Chhatrapati Shivaji had 280 forts in his occupation. Okay, Chhatrapati Shivaji has 280. Okay, you'll have to keep in mind Chhatrapati Shivaji had 280 forts in his occupation, and the hill fort with the territory commanded by it was the unit of Chhatrapati Shivaji civil government. Chhatrapati Shivaji civil government. And then friends, coming down from the hill forts to the plains, the country was divided into mahals and prants. The country was divided into mahal and prants. First of all, in upper part, okay, in upper part there was fort. Okay, there was fort. For example, let's talks about India's map. India upper part, in northern part there is also, you can say, ki mountain. Then in a lower part, okay, in a lower part you can see there is plain. So you should keep in mind. So in a upper part, in Shivaji administration, okay, there was fort and 280 fort. And then friends, coming down from the hill forts to the plains, the country was divided into mahals and parts. Okay, the country was divided into mahal and parts. And Chhatrapati Shivaji did not continue the old Mughal system of leaving the revenue management, okay, slowly in the hands of the village patils or kulkarnis. Okay, patils or kulkarni. And it was carried on directly by the subedar, okay, or mahalkaris for the suba or the mahal, while every group of 2 or 3 villages was managed by, okay, kama, also you can say kama visdar, who made the direct collection of the revenue. In a Mughal period, okay, in a Mughal system, there was revenue system, and revenue was managed by the, also you can say, middleman, okay. But in a Shivaji administration, revenue was, okay, also you can say revenue was administered directly by the, you can say ki patils or kulkarni, directly by the directly by the suba or mahal, okay, subedar or hum log keh sakte ki mahalkaris, okay. Then friends, also you can say ki there was 2 or 3 village, okay, if there was 2 or 3 village, there were a group, okay, there were a group, and group was managed by Kam Visdar, and who made the direct collection of revenue, okay. 4 village, you should keep in mind, 4 village, there were patil or kulkarni, okay. Then friends, there was subedar or mahalkaris for the suba or the mahal, okay, suba or the mahal. Then हम लोग ऐसे कहते हैं ना कि 2 या 2 से अधिक गांवों को मिला करके, ओके, 2 या 2 से अधिक गांवों को मिला करके एक क्या बनता था आपका कामा विस्दर, ओके, कामा विस्दर. This is very important, कामा विस्दर. Kama Visdar was also you can say ki direct, also you can say ki responsible for the collection of revenue, responsible for the collection of revenue, okay. Then in a Shivaji, you can say ki era, there was peace and order to his country, okay, assured the protection of women's honors and the religion of all sects without distinction, without discrimination, and extended the royal patronage to the truly, okay, pious men of all creeds, and presented equal opportunities to all his subjects by opening the public service to the talented irrespective of caste or creed. Public service, okay, was open for, you can say ki talented person. Public service was open for the talented person. For example, present situation, okay, in a present situation, public service open for, you can say ki talented person. If you are talented, okay, you can crack the examination. So you'll have to keep in mind. So this was the rule of Shivaji. This was the rule of Shivaji, I have told you. So now let's discuss the Shivaji warfare strategy. What was the Shivaji warfare strategy? So Shivaji adopted the guerrilla, okay, guerrilla warfare strategy. What was the guerrilla warfare strategy? Now I'm going to tell you. The guerrilla strategy aims at avoiding pitched, okay, battles. It survived to change the balance of military force by tactful operation, okay, by tactful operation. And it knows no distinction between the offensive and defensive, okay, it knows no distinction between the offensive and defensive. and its strategy is always offensive. What was the strategy of Shivaji? Was always offensive, and the descriptive label attached to the search word was, you can say, Ghanimi Kab. Okay, Ghanimi Kab. Okay, Ghanimi Kab. So let's discuss the next slide. So what was the Shivaji warfare strategy? I have told you, guerrilla warfare strategy. What was the strategy? Guerrilla warfare strategy. And Shivaji adopted the guerrilla warfare strategy. And the guerrilla warfare strategy aims at avoiding pitched battles. Avoiding pitched battles, also you can say avoiding direct battles. Okay. And it strives to change the balance of military force by tactful operation. By tactful operation. By tactful operation. Then it knows no distinction. Okay, it knows no distinction between the offensive and defensive, and its strategy is always offensive. Its strategy is always offensive. You will have to keep in mind, always offensive. Okay. Then friends, the descriptive label attached to such war was Ghanimi Kab. Okay, Ghanimi Kab. So now let's discuss the Shivaji naval power. Okay, naval power was samudri shakti भी से हम लोग कहते हैं. Okay, so the marine force of Chhatrapati Shivaji were mainly of two types. Okay, mainly of two types. The first one was the island fort. Okay, first one was the island fort. So you will have to keep in mind. First one was the island fort. Okay, island fort. Then okay, so I have told you the first one was the island fort, in which the stronghold was surrounded by sea on all sides. On all sides. Okay. For example, there is fort. Okay. For example, there is fort. So all sides there will be sea. Okay. There will be sea. And other types was known as the coastal fort. Other types was known as the coastal. Okay. Fort. Coastal fort. Coastal fort. Okay. And friends, also coastal fort or headland fort. Coastal fort or headland fort. Headland fort. Headland fort. Okay. And headland fort, which was constructed along the seashore, where the entrance would be from the landslide. Okay. Also you can say land side, and the rear part of the fort would face towards the sea. Okay. Towards the sea. For example, Hayes Ports, okay, entry from land side, and this side, okay, will be, you can say, covered by the sea. Okay, so you will have to keep in mind. So in a Shivaji naval power, there was two types of fort. Okay, I have told you. First one was island fort. Okay, and the second was coastal fort. Second was coastal fort. So you should keep in the mind. Okay. Then Shivaji also laid the foundation of shipbuilding industry. Okay, Shivaji also, you can say, started shipbuilding industry. Okay, shipbuilding industry. This is very important. Shipbuilding industry. Shipbuilding industry. Okay, and friends, also you can say Shivaji also laid the foundation of the shipbuilding industry of the Maratha after he captured Konkan in 1650. Okay, captured Konkan in 1650. Okay, Konkan in 1650. Kalyan was made a naval base, and dockyards were built accordingly. Okay, so you'll have to keep in mind. Then there was Hindvi Swaraj. Okay, Hindvi Swaraj. Hindvi Swaraj means self-rule of Indian people. Okay, Hindvi Swaraj means self-rule of Indian people. And it is a term for socio-political movements seeking to remove foreign rule from India. So you'll have to keep in mind Hindvi Swaraj. Okay, and the term was first used in 1645, later by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and the term Swaraj was later adopted by the Bal Gangadhar Tilak during freedom struggle. During freedom struggle, so you'll have to keep in mind. So we have covered, okay, first topics. Now let's okay, discuss second topic. If you have any problem, you can ask. First topic is clear. Okay, any doubt? Do you have any doubt, or is it clear? Please tell me.
Clear, sir.
Okay, please, you will have to revise. So now let's discuss the second topic. Also you can say the second point. So now I'm going to tell you relevance of G7 Summit 2021 for India. So let's discuss the first of all context. This year, summit of the group of G7 industrial countries hosted by United Kingdom in the picturesque, Cornwall region promises to be a definitive movement in the political evolution of the West. And the summit, which saw the digital participation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also mark an important step towards a new global compact between India and the West. So what is the background? So this year G7 summit, happening at a time when global economy is facing its worst crisis since the Great Depression of 1930 due to the global COVID pandemic. So unlike last year when the scheduled summit in the USA had got cancelled due to coronavirus outbreak, and this year's summit is being conveyed physically, which itself reflect a sense of hope. So now let's discuss the analysis. What is G7? So let's first of all discuss what is G7. So G7 simple meaning is group of seven. What is G7? G7 is a group of seven, and it is an organization of world's 7 largest so-called advanced economics. So-called advanced economy. So who is the member? So Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the United States. So please keep in the mind, I have told you United Kingdom and United States. This is very, very important. So please keep in mind. This is very, very important. So please tell me about the United Kingdom. Which country is the part of, you can say, United Kingdom? Which country is the part of United Kingdom? Anyone? So United Kingdom is made of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. So please keep in mind. This is very, very important. So maybe UPSC can ask, so which country is the part of United Kingdom? So you'll have to keep in mind. So I have told you, so Scotland, England, Wales, and then there is also Northern Ireland. So this is very, very important. Then friends, let's discuss. So I have told you in a G7 there is Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the United States of America. So representatives from the European Union, are usually present, while India, South Korea and Australia have also been invited this year. Invited this year. And friends, the United Kingdom was holding the G7 presidency for 2021. So this is where the summit is taking place at the Carvis Bay Hotel near St. Ives in Cornwall. So please keep in mind. And ahead of this year's summit, the G7 finance minister agreed to make multinational companies pay more tax, minimum 15%. This is very, very important. I have told you. Then friends, let's discuss the next things. So let's discuss what is the key takeaways from this year summits. So let's one by one. First of all, friends, 2021 summit is the first global tour of newly elected US President Joe Biden after assuming office. So Joe Biden belongs to which party? Democratic or Republic? Anyone? Joe Biden belongs to which party?
Republic, sir.
Then Donald Trump?
Sir, Democratic.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, Joe Biden, sir, Labour Party maybe, sir.
Joe Biden belongs to Democratic Party, and then Donald Trump belongs to, you'll have to keep in mind, you can say Republic Party. So please keep in the mind. So now, so what is the key you can say key takeaways from this year's summit? First of all, there was discussion related to multilateralism. There's a discussion on multilateralism. So US signed return of multilateralism as the core theme of American foreign policy. core theme of American foreign policy. So Joe Biden, America is back slogan, okay, signifies re-strengthening, okay, transatlantic alliance with members of G7 like UK, France, Germany, and Italy. Okay, you'll have to keep in mind. This is very, very important. So please keep in the mind Atlantic alliance. So this is very important. Transatlantic alliance. Okay, please keep in the mind Atlantic. Please, okay, transatlantic alliance. This is transatlantic. Okay, maybe UPSC can ask, so you'll have to keep in mind transatlantic alliance. Okay, is related to G7, or also you can say transatlantic alliance is helping to develop a comprehensive political, economic, and military approach to crisis management, including stabilization and reconstruction efforts by working together with a growing range of actors, including non-governmental and international organizations. Okay, so you have to keep in the mind. Okay, you'll have to keep in the mind. This is very, very important. Transatlantic alliance. Also, I have told you the USA President Joe Biden in his first address to the annual Munich Security Conference declared that the transatlantic alliance is back and stressed the need to defend democracy around the world. And the USA President intended to improve the strained relationship between the USA and other European allies. And the Munich Security Conference, it is an annual conference on international security policy that has taken place in Munich, Germany since 1963. So you will have to keep in the mind. Then there is also NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We'll discuss in upcoming lesson. So now let's discuss key takeaways from this year's summit, G7 summit. So I have told you multilateralism. Then there was New Atlantic Charter. What New Atlantic Charter? What is New Atlantic Charter? Let's discuss. So USA President, Biden, and Prime Minister, that means Biden Prime Minister Boris Johnson signed the New Atlantic Charter. Which updates the previous wartime charter signed between their predecessor Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. Former you can say USA President Franklin Roosevelt and former UK you can say Prime Minister Winston Churchill. So please keep in the mind New Atlantic Charter, signed between America and United Kingdom. So unlike the previous charter, which is directed against the Nazism of Hitler's Germany, this charter addressed 21st century challenges like climate change, biodiversity, artificial intelligence, cyber operation. So please keep in the mind. So I have told you the New Atlantic Charter between USA and UK. Joe Biden, between Joe Biden and Johnson. You will have to keep in the mind. Joe Biden, I have told you, and Britain Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. So what is New Atlantic Charter? I have told you. Then friends, there is B3W. B3W initiative. So what is this? So let's discuss. Rise of China. And it's a growing competition with West, also you can say West dominates this year G7 summit. Build Back Better World. B3W. Now I'm going to tell you. Build Back Better World. What is B3W? I have told you. Build Back Better World. It is an initiative and it is launched to support infrastructure investment. In low and middle income countries. And is seen as counter to China Belt and Road Initiative. Counter to China, okay, Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, China Belt and Road Initiative, okay. So you'll have to keep in the mind. Initiative, okay, I have told you, it is, you'll have to keep in mind, it is an initiative, it's launched to support infrastructure investment in low and middle income countries, and is seen as counter to China Belt and Road Initiative, which is accused by Western countries of promoting predatory financing, okay. Then there was discussion related to global taxation, okay. There was you can say a discussion related to global taxation. So another key, okay, theme of this year's summit is to make globalization more functional through steps like proposing a minimum 15% tax on multinational companies and commitment by G7 countries to make available 1 billion doses of COVID vaccine. 1 billion doses of okay, COVID vaccine. So you'll have to keep in mind. So this is global taxation. Global taxation means minimum 15%, okay, tax on MNC, okay. So this is very important. Then Carbis Bay Declaration. There is Carbis Bay Declaration. So let's discuss what is this Carbis Bay Declaration. So friend, it is a key initiative, okay. So Carbis Bay Declaration, which aims at tackling future pandemic within 100 days, okay. Please keep in mind, which aims at tackling future pandemic, future pandemics within 100 days, okay, within 100 days. Thus signifies importance of public health in current geopolitical scenario. So please keep in the mind, this is very, very important. So what is the history of G7? Okay, so let's discuss the history of G7. So as the world reeled from the first oil shock and subsequent financial crisis, the heads of states and government of 6 leading industrial countries met in 1975. So please keep in the mind, at the Chateau de Rambouillet. Also you please keep in mind, simple, in France, okay, in France. And for the first time to discuss the global economy, first time to discuss the global economy, okay, global economy. And friends, they were joined in 1976 by Canada, okay, in 1976 Canada, okay, 1976 Canada joined G7. Then in 1998 Russia, so please keep in mind, in 1998 Russia, but Russia is not the part of G7, okay, presently. And following the Russia annexation of Crimea, the G7 nation decided in March 2014, okay, in March 2014 to meet without Russia until further notice, okay. So please keep in the mind. So I have told you, Russia is not the part of G7. So presently Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom and United States is the part of G7. So what is the India's stake in this year G7 summit? So let's discuss the India's stake, okay. So friends, let's discuss. So India has been invited as a special guest at 2021 G7 summit along with South Africa, Australia and South Korea, okay. And friends, this invitation comes at a time when India relation with China is under severe strain due to last year Galwan incident, okay, and subsequent military standoff at the line of actual control. So please keep in the mind. Then friends, in March this year, India also participated in Quad, okay, Leaders Summit, and both this development signifies a growing, okay, convergence among India and West to counterbalance China, okay, So please keep in the mind, in a Quad there is America, okay, Japan, Australia and India. So please keep in the mind, okay, this is very, very important. Then friends, further, this invitation is also a continuation of India's long-term desire of becoming part of global high table of diplomacy. Global high table of diplomacy. So, okay, India also wants to participate in, you can say, world issue. That also India wants to contribute. Okay, please keep in the mind. Then friends, there is a commitment of USA to provide 500 million COVID vaccine without any strings. It has also come as a breather to countries like India, who are emerging from deadly second wave of COVID and grappling with the acute shortage of vaccine. Okay, so this is very, you can say, significant point for India. Then signing of a new Atlantic Charter is a key stepping stone in India interaction with the West. Since during signing of last charter, Britain Prime Minister Churchill specifically excluded Indians from the principle of self-determination, which formed the core of previous charter. But now, okay, you'll have to keep in mind India interaction with the West since during signing of last charter, Britain pay Indians from the principle of self-discrimination, which formed the core of previous charter. Okay, previous charter. So this had poisoned India's relation with the US in the initial year and cast a long shadow of mistrust in year to come. Okay, so please keep in the mind. Atlantic Charter deals with the challenges like climatic change, okay, and biodiversity, rise of authoritarianism, in which India is a key stakeholder, thus can hold the promise of, okay, heralding a new chapter in India relation with the West. That means India wants to develop a new relation with the Western country, and also Western country wants India. Okay, also you can say India should be a, you can say, a strong partner. Okay, India can be a strong partner for balancing the China's. Okay, so also America or United Kingdom wants to be, okay, a strong partner for India. So please keep in the mind. So I have, okay, told you. So what is the challenges, okay, ahead of G7? So let's discuss the challenges ahead of G7. So friends, there is expected conflict of interest. Expected conflict of interest. Okay. So the growing convergence of interest between India and the West does not mean that two sides will agree on everything. Okay, as there are many areas of continuing divergence from the economic role of the state to the democratic regulation of social media and the technology giants. Okay, please keep in the mind. So there is a tussle bit, keep in the mind. So friends, there is also difficult convergence. So the broad convergence between India and the West into tangible cooperation will not be easy. It will require sustainable, also you can say sustained negotiation on converting shared interest, reforming the global economic order, mitigating climate change, promoting greener growth, making the world immune to future pandemics, constructing trusted supply chains into concrete outcomes. Okay, concrete outcomes. So what should be the conclusion, friends? Let's discuss the conclusion. So as China is seemingly the greatest obstacle to India's global ambition, besides threats to the territorial sovereignty, a better relation with the West is requirement for India. Okay, better relation with the West is requirement. Also you can say it is required, okay, for the present scenario. And looking east and mobilizing the south have been India's difficult geopolitical, okay, please ध्यान में रखिएगा कि geopolitical orientation. And while India continues to strengthen its partnership in Asia and the global south, and a more productive partnership with the West helps secure a growing array of India's national interest and adds a new depth to India's international relation. And in this scenario, G7 summit and invitation to India is a welcome development. G7 summit, okay, welcome development, and G7 summit is an opportunity to expand the global dimension of India's growing partnership with US and the West. Okay. So now let's discuss the third topic. So second topic is clear. Is it clear, or do you have any doubts? You can ask. So I told you I will cover topic according to mains and also for prelims. So I have to cover this topic according to mains. Okay, now let's discuss the next topic. If this topic is clear or not? Anyone? Do you have any problem?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the problem? Please ask.
Topic is clear, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. So okay, so आप में से कोई लोग हैं जो आंसर राइटिंग करते हैं? You know, answer writing is most important part for your journey. So please do answer writing. Answer writing is necessary. Okay, please don't think कि prelims clear हो जाएगा तो then mains पर जाएंगे, mains clear हो जाएगा तो हम interview पे जाएंगे. नहीं, you should do your preparation with pre-com mains approaches. So please keep in the mind. So now let's discuss the next topic. Okay, so next topic is 76th United Nations General Assembly elects its new president. Okay, elects its new president. So what is the context? Maldives, Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid has been elected president of the 76th United Nations General Assembly. With an overwhelming majority. He received 143 votes out of 191 ballots cast. And while Afghanistan former Foreign Minister Jalmai Rasool got only 48 votes. So please keep in the mind. So Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid, who's Abdullah Shahid, got 143 votes. 143 votes. So what is the background? Maldives had announced Shahid candidature in December 2018. At a time, no other candidate was in the fray. India announced its support for Shahid during Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla visit to Maldives in November 2020, and he was the only candidate even then. While Rasool, former you can say Afghanistan Foreign Minister, had a strong credential by the time his candidature were announced. And Maldives had already garnered extensive support, and moreover, it has never held the office of you can say PGA, PGA, while Afghanistan held the post during the 21st General Assembly session in 1966-67. Now, what is the analysis parts? Let's discuss the procedure of election of president. So what is the procedure? UPSC may ask question related to the procedure of election of president. So let's discuss the procedure. So first of all, the presidency of the General Assembly rotates among 5 regional groups. So first the group of Asian states, then the group of Eastern European states, then the group of Latin American and the Caribbean states, then the group of African states, then Western European and the other states group. So presidency of General Assembly rotates among the 5 regional groups. First group of Asian, then group of Eastern European, then group of Latin American and the Caribbean states, and the group of African state and the Western European and other states group. So the president of the General Assembly is elected every year by a secret ballot paper, by a secret ballot, and requires a simple majority vote of the General Assembly. Then what is the meaning of simple majority? What is the meaning of the simple majority according to Indian Constitution? Do you know? Present and voting. Present and voting. That means 50% plus 1. Present and voting is called simple majority. For example, there is 545 members in Lok Sabha. but at present there is only, you can say, 100 members present in the house, so there will be 51 members support. Okay, so this is called, you can say, present and voting. That means 50% plus 1% and voting is called simple majority. So the president of the General Assembly is elected every year by a secret ballot and requires a simple majority vote of the General Assembly. And in accordance with the United Nations General Assembly rules of procedure, the president and vice president are elected. Okay, they should be elected, so you will have to keep in the mind. They should be elected. Okay. Then friends, elected. So elected, there is a rules. Okay, rule number 30 is related to election. Rule number 30. So General Assembly elects a president and 21 vice president at 9. Okay, list 3 months before the opening of the session over which they are to preside. Okay, which are they? You can say which they are to preside. So there will be a president. Okay, and 21 vice president. One president plus 21 vice president, United Nations General Assembly. Then this rule number 31 talks about the temporary president. So if at the opening of the session of the General Assembly, the president for that session has not yet been elected, the president of the previous session shall preside until the assembly has elected a president. For example, now I'm going to tell you about the Lok Sabha procedure. Okay, for Lok Sabha, if Lok Sabha dissolved, that means a speaker post can also dissolve. No, a speaker post will remain in the office. Okay, and after new election, a speaker post will, you can say, dissolve. So please keep in the mind. So rule number 31 talks about the temporary president of General Assembly, United Nations General Assembly. Then rule number 32. This is not important, but I'm going to tell you. Okay, acting president. If the president finds it necessary to be absent during a meeting or any part thereof, he shall designate one of the vice president to take his place. Then rule number 34, replacement of the president. Okay, if the president is unable to perform his function, a new president shall be elected for the unexpired term. For the unexpired term, not for the new term, for the unexpired term. Okay, please keep in the mind. I have told you. Okay, this is very, very important. So please keep in the mind. Now, let's discuss the next point. Okay, so what is the next? So general power of the president. What is the power of the president? Okay, general power of the president. This is very, very important. So let's discuss general power of the president. Okay, so declare the opening and closing of each plenary meeting of the session. Okay, this is very, very simple. Okay, don't need to discussion. Then direct the discussion in plenary meeting, ensure observance of these rules, called the right to speak, put question and announce decision. Okay, this no need to discussion. So please go through these slides. Okay, so this is the general powers of the president. Now, what is the function and powers of United Nations General Assembly? This is very important for your mains examination. This is very important for your mains examination in paper 2. In paper 2. So what is the general power, or what is the power? So let's discuss the powers. Okay, what is the power? Okay, first of all, friends, let's discuss. According to Charter of the United Nations, the General Assembly may consider and approve the United Nations budget and establish the financial assessments of member states. Okay, consider and approve the United Nations budget. Then elect the non-permanent member of the Security Council. In a Security Council, there is 5 permanent members and 10 temporary members for 2 years. Okay, so please keep in the mind. So United Nations General Assembly elects the non-permanent member of the Security Council and the members of other United Nations Council and organs, and on the recommendation of Security Council appoints the Secretary General. Okay, there's also news related to Secretary General. Antonio Guterres become the, you can say, chairman of Secretary of United Nations Security Council. Please keep in the mind. Then there is important points. So let's discuss the important points. Okay, what is the important points? consider and make recommendation on general principle of cooperation for maintaining international peace and security. Okay, security including disarmament. Disarmament means कि हम लोग कहते हैं ना कि हथियारों की होड़ नहीं होनी चाहिए. Okay, so please keep in the mind. Then discuss any question relating to international peace and security, and except where a dispute or situation is currently being discussed by the Security Council and make recommendation on it. Then discuss with the same exception, okay, please keep in the mind, and make recommendation on any question within the scope of the charter or affecting the powers and function of any organ of the United Nations. Then friends, initiated studies, make recommendation to promote international political organization, development and codification of international law, then the realization of human rights and fundamental freedoms, and international collaboration in economic, social, humanitarian, cultural, educational and health fields. Then also make recommendation for the peaceful settlement of any situation that might impair friendly relation among countries, and consider reports from the Security Council and other United Nations organization Okay. Then friends, there is also proposed reforms. We'll discuss the proposed reforms. What is the proposed reforms? With the increased importance and expectation regarding the performance of the office, it is no longer tenable that the president should rotate automatically every year between the regional groups. Okay. And the selection of the president should be based on a competitive process open to all UN member states, similarly to the Secretary General. Then president term in office should be extended from 1 to 2 years, and this would ensure that the effectiveness, professionalism and diplomatic support that member states have come to, okay, you can say expect from the presidency is maintained. Then as an alternative, president could be appointed 1 year in advance and serve as deputy president for 1 year under the current president before taking office. Then even if the president term in office is not extended, the staff should still be ready for longer period. This improve the service and support enjoyed both by the president and the member states. Okay, so this is very, very important. Then what should be the conclusion for this topic? So let's discuss the conclusion, friends. Over the last 10 to 15 years, the political role of the General Assembly and its president has undergone a gradual incremental enhancement. And this has occurred in part because of the frustration of many member states at the lack of reform of the Security Council. And at the same time, it has become increasingly possible for small and medium-sized countries to show leadership in the negotiation and in leading the coalition that spearheaded change and get to results. Hence, the proposed reforms in such multilateral institutions are the need of the hour. This is very, very important. Then, friends, now let's discuss the next. So this topic is clear. Is it clear or any doubt? Anyone? It's very important for your mains examination. Okay, and a few points is for your prelims examination. For example, function and powers of United Nations Assembly. One, please tell me. Any problem? So now let's move ahead. For the next topic, and the next topic is the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Codes Rule 2021. Rule 2021. This is very, very important. So let's discuss. Okay. Then, friends, first of all, what is the context? The Delhi High Court has recently granted Twitter 3 weeks time to state on record that it has appointed a resident grievance officer and observed that it has to comply with the IT rules 2021 if they have not been stayed. Okay, so what is the background? So the new rules were notified in February, okay, this year by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology under the Information Technology Act 2000, and this will replace the Information Technology, okay, Intermediary Guidelines Rule 2011. So social media intermediaries were given a 3 months period to comply with the new rules, and the government in May, okay, issue fresh notice to all social media intermediaries seeking details on the status of compliance with the new rules that come into effect on that day. So for example, companies like Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Who, ShareChat, and LinkedIn have shared details, okay, with, you can say, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology as per the requirement of the new norms. And Twitter sought an extension of the compliance window and called for a constructive dialogue and collaborative approach from the government to safeguard freedom of expression of public. And WhatsApp filed a case in the Delhi High Court against the government on grounds that the new rules violated customer privacy. And the new intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code have also been challenged by entities like the Wire, the Live Law, and the Quint. Okay, so what is the IT Act 2000? So friends, the IT Act, okay, 2000 provides a legal framework for electronic governance by giving recognition to electronic records and digital signature. And IT Rule 2000 also defines cyber crimes and prescribes penalties for them. And 2000 Act directed the formation of a controller of certifying authorities to regulate the issuance of digital signature. And it also established a cyber appellate tribunal to resolve dispute arising from this new law. And the IT Act 2000 okay, amended various sections of Indian Penal Code 1816, the Indian Evidence Code 1872, the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891, then RBI Act 1934 to make them compliant with new technology. So what is the IT Rule 2021? Let's discuss, okay, the detail. What is the IT Rule 2021? So let's discuss, friends, one by one. This is very important. Okay, so I have to, and friends, what IT 2021? These, friends, safety measures are also, you can say, first of all, the IT rules 2020 to empower ordinary user of social media and okay, also you can say OTT platforms with a mechanism for redressal and timely resolution of their grievance with the help of grievance redressal officer who should be a resident in India. That means the IT rules 2021 talks about the grievances. Okay, so please keep in the mind. Okay, you can say grievance. Okay, also you can say grievance redressal officer, and they should be resident in India. Okay, they should be resident in India. This is very, very important. Then friends, let's discuss the next thing. So there is safety measures. So special emphasis has been given on the protection of women and children from sexual offenses. Okay, so please keep in the mind women's and children. Okay, women's and children, this is very important. So a special emphasis has been given on the protection of women and children from sexual offenses, fake news, and other misuse of the social media. So please keep in the mind. Then source identification. There is a provision related to source identification. What is the meaning of this? So identification of the first originator of the information. Identification first. Okay, identification for the first originator. Okay, for the first originator, that means ki you can say ki who originate the post. Okay, so please keep in the mind ki source identification of the first originator of the information would be required in case of an offense related to sovereignty and integrity of India. Okay, sovereignty and integrity of India. That appointment of chief compliance officer. Okay, the appointment of chief compliance officer. So chief compliance officer, resident of India, also needs to be appointed, and that person shall be responsible for ensuring compliance with the act and rules. Then complaint monitoring. Okay, complaint monitoring. So a monthly compliance report. Okay, a monthly compliance report. So you'll have to keep in mind monthly, okay, compliance, a monthly compliance. Okay, you can say a report mentioning the details of complaints received and action taken on the complaints would be necessary. Then the code of ethics. Okay, the OTT platforms, online news and digital media entities, okay, on the other hand, would need to follow a code of ethics, Then self-classification. So OTT platforms would be called as a publisher of online curated content under the new rules. Okay, under the new rules, you'll have to keep in the mind. Then friends, they would have self-classified the content into 5 categories. On the 5 categories, okay, so there will be parental lock for age, okay, of 18 or above, parental lock, okay, so please keep in the mind, okay, locks for age above 13 years or higher. They also need to include age verification mechanism for content classified as adult. So there will be 5 types. Okay, then redressal mechanism. So a 3-level grievance redressal mechanism has been mandated, and this includes the appointment of GRO, grievance redressal officer, self-regulatory bodies registered with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to look after the code of ethics, and a charter for the self-regulating bodies formulated by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Then friends, then also the company, okay, challenges these laws. So what is the, let's discuss what is the grounds for challenges. So while the new rules were challenged by many on grounds of violation of free speech, the government has clarified that these rules permit social media platform to operate in India freely, but with due accordance to the law. And every entity has to abide by Constitution of country and the rule of law. And also, as per Article 19 of the Indian Constitution, freedom of speech and expression is not absolute and is subject to reasonable restriction, especially in case of a threat to national sovereignty and integrity. Okay, so our fundamental right is not absolute, so please keep in the mind. And failure to comply with any one of these requirements would take away the, you can say, indemnity provided to social media intermediaries under Section 79 of the Information Technology Act. So what is the Section 79 of the, okay, IT Act 2009? What is 79? Section of 79 of the IT Act 2000. So let's discuss 1 or 2 points. Okay, it says an intermediary shall not be held legally or otherwise liable for any third-party information, data or communication link made available or hosted on its platform. And this protection, the act shall be applicable only if the intermediary act just as the messenger carrying a message from, okay, from point A to point B without interfering in any manner. It will be safe from any legal prosecution brought upon, okay, upon due to the message being transmitted. And the protection according to under Section 79 of IT Act 2009, okay, 2000. However, is it not guaranteed if the intermediary, despite being informed or notified by the government or its agency, does not immediately, okay, disable access to the material under question, and the intermediary must not tamper with any evidence of this message or content present on its platform, failing which it lose its protection under the act, you can say under the act or section 79 of the IT Act 2009. So friends, then like 79 of India's Act section 230 of the Communication Decency Act of the US states that no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Okay, provided by another information content provider. Okay. Then friends, this is the most important points. So what is the important points? I have told you what is the section 79. I have covered. Okay, please keep in the mind, this is very, very important. And friends, there is a next point. Okay, so what is the need for the new rules? So let's discuss 2 or 3 points. So the rules come at a time when the country is constantly striving to ensure the safety and sovereignty of the cyberspace and personal data. And there is also wide coverage. So social media is increasingly becoming an important part of life. Then friends, let's discuss an example. WhatsApp currently has a user base of 340 million. 340 million in the country, and accounting for the largest number of subscribers in the world, and even more than US. On Facebook has 290 million, Twitter has 17.5 million, YouTube 265 million, and Instagram 120 million. Okay, so you can say for the consumer, for the people, this is necessary, and necessary to ensure the safety and the sovereignty of cyberspace and personal data. So there is also bundle of issues. What is the issue? With such a huge population dependent on social media platforms, the technology company cannot ignore the new and emerging challenges like persistent spread of fake news. Then rampant abuse of the platforms to share morphed image of female, then deep fakes and other contents that threaten the dignity of female, child pornography, threat to security, then hate speech. So stance of use of abusive language, defamatory contents, and hate speech in these platforms have become very common. So there is a need of the new law. This is the reason. Also, you can say these are the reasons for the new law. So what is the Supreme Court take on emerging challenges of social media? So let's discuss the Supreme Court take on emerging challenges of social media. So in view such emerging, the Supreme Court in 2018 in the Tehseen S. Poonawalla versus Union of India directed government to curb and stop dissemination of explosive messages and videos on various social media platforms. So that means government is responsible to stop the fake news. So please keep in the mind. Then the court in 2017 also observed that the government may frame necessary guidelines to eliminate child pornography, rape and gang rape images, videos and sites and content hosting platforms and other applications. That means government has duty to stop the, you can say, fake news, to stop the child pornography, to stop the, you can say, images, also you can say rape images, videos and sites and content hosting platforms and other application. So the new rules are thus in accordance with previous Supreme Court observation. So new rules is also you can say accordance or you can say new rule are thus in accordance with the previous Supreme Court observation. Then friends, as per the new rules, intermediaries are mandated to remove or disable contents that are against the safety and dignity of individual within 24 hours of receiving of complaints, and such complaints can be filed either by the individual or a person on his her behalf. Because right to dignity is the, you can say, part of the human being. That means also right to you can say कि right to privacy is the part of the fundamental rights according to Article 90. Okay, according to Article 90. And according to government, knowing the first originator or information, also known as traceability, okay, of messages that cause violence, rights, terrorism, rape or threat to national security fall under reasonable exception to right to privacy, which again is not absolute as per the constitution, because right to privacy is not absolute. Every fundamental right has restriction, okay, and we should follow this restriction. Okay, then this is the very important topic for you. Okay, I have told you. So what is the Supreme Court okay, take on emerging challenges of social media? We have discussed. So what is the technological hurdles with respect to traceability? So let's discuss 2 or 3 points. So social media companies have expressed, okay, apprehension about the identification of traceability when required to do so by authorities, which could possibly lead to the breaking the end-to-end encryption and can compromise user privacy. Okay, this is the excuses of the companies. And the government, however, has stated that traceability would only be required in case of very serious offenses that threaten the sovereignty and integrity of India. So this is the points of the Indian government. Okay, and also you can say for the integrity and sovereignty, okay, there is no need to write to information. Okay, and further it could also be implemented without breaking the end-to-end you can say end-to-end encryption. And the onus, however, will lie on the companies to find a technological solution for the same. What should be the conclusion? Conclusion should be, friends, the imperative of striking the right balance between fundamental rights and ascertaining the reasonableness of restriction has been a constant effort since the adoption of the Constitution. And the debate has now reached the digital world, and the ongoing tussle between private tech giants who own a substantial amount of big data, government desires of imposing reasonable restriction, and user worried about issue relating to data privacy and constraint on freedom of speech and expression is likely to get more complicated before optimum solution can be arrived at. And the IT rules 2021 seek to address concern of the citizen without infringing on their privacy and personal liberty while maintaining digital sovereignty at the same time. Okay, so now there's a conflict of interest. Okay, this is not too much important topic. We'll discuss 2 or 3 points. Okay, so the context, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, okay, ethics officer had adjudged Tamil Nadu Cricket Association president to be in conflict of interest. And this is the first time the ethics officer has found a state association president to be in a position of conflict. Okay, so what is a conflict of interest? Let's discuss. So conflict of interest may arise in situation, okay, where a legislature benefits directly or indirectly in a private capacity for the conduct of his public duties, and interest could be 2 broad categories. Okay, or okay, so first is pecuniary interest, then pecuniary interest. Okay, so this is not too much important, so please keep in the mind. Okay, so these are different types of conflict of interest. So 7 categories according to Canadian political scientists Ken Condagan, okay, and John Langford. There is self-dealing, accepting benefits, influence peddling, using your employee's property for private advantage, using confidential information, outside employment or moonlighting, and post-employment. So this is important for your general studies paper 4, that means ethics and integrity. Ethics and integrity. Okay. Then friends, there is mechanism to check, okay, conflict of interest. There should be, okay, declaration, then there is a recusal, then incompatibility, then regulation of gifts and travels. Okay, these are the mechanism to check conflict of interest. Now let's come to the Modern Tenancy Act. Okay, so this is important. So let's come to the next topic. So मॉडल टेनेंसी जो एक्ट है उसको हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे. ओके, दिस now this topic is important for your, you can say, prelims. Okay, so please keep in the mind, this is very, very important, I have told you. So let's discuss, okay, Model Tenancy Act. And first of all, friends, okay, yes, Model Tenancy Act, because yes, important. Just a minute. Yes, Model Tenancy Act. What is the context? Central government has recently approved the Model Tenancy Act to streamline the process of renting property in India. What is the key feature of the act? So let's discuss the key feature of the act. Unlocking of vacant house. So the act will facilitate unlocking of vacant house for rental housing purpose. Rental housing purpose. Then balancing the rights of both landlords and tenants. So what is the aim? Aimed at bridging the trust deficit between tenants and landlords by clearly, okay, delineating their obligation. So there will be monetary ceiling. So there is no monetary ceiling under MTA, okay, Model Tenancy Act, which enable parties to negotiate and execute the agreement on mutually agreed terms. And it will give confidence to landlords to let out their vacant premises. Then mandatory agreement. So Model Tenancy Act mandates for written agreement for all new tenancies which are to be submitted to a rent authority. So digital platform will be set up in the local vernacular language or the language of the for submitting the tenancy agreement and other documents. Then there will be mutual consent, okay, consent. So rent and duration of the tenancy will be fixed by the mutual consent between the owner and tenant through a written agreement. Then existing tenancies. So MTA will be applicable prospectively and will not affect existing tenancies. Okay. So what is the position of the states? So states can adopt the new act. Is it very fresh legislation, and as it is a state subject, or they can amend their existing rent acts suitably to factor in the new Model Tenancy Act. Then states and union territories have MOU signed with the center, okay, under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, which has this provision, okay, which has this provision. So please keep in the mind. So what was the need for this act, friends? So as per census 2011, more than 1 crore houses were lying vacant in urban areas across the country, and existing rent controls laws are restricting the growth of rental housing as they discourage the owners from renting houses due to fear of them back. Formal agreements with arbitrary clauses and often, okay, litigation arising out of disputes. Please keep in the mind, out of disputes. Okay, so this I have talked to you, I have covered Model Tenancy Act, so please keep in the mind. Then next topic is SAGE initiative and portal. What SAGE initiative and portal? What is the context? So the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment virtually launched the SAGE. SAGE means, okay, Senior Care Aging Growth Engine. Okay, Aging Growth Engine, and it is an initiative. So please keep in the mind. Okay, this is the initiative and SAGE portal for elderly person. SAGE portal for elderly person. And friends, SAGE program and SAGE portal have been launched with a view to help such person who are interested in entrepreneurship in the field of providing services for elderly care. Okay, providing for services for elderly care. So please keep in the mind, this is very, very important. So what is the SAGE portal? What is the provision of SAGE portal? So let's discuss the SAGE portal. So the portal will be services by credit. Just a minute. Yes, and the startups, okay, will be selected on the basis of innovation in providing products and services across sector such as health, housing, okay, care centers, apart from technological access linked to finance, food and wealth management and legal guidance. And it will be open for application from 5th June 2021 onwards. And the startup will selected by an independent screening committee of experts, and a fund of Rs 1 crore as a one-time equity will be granted to each selected startup. Okay, each selected startup. So now let's discuss the friends SAGE products. So sorry, SAGE project. SAGE project. So the project aims to identify, evaluate, verify, aggregate, and deliver products, solution, and services directly to the stakeholder. And the minister, or also you can say ministry, will act as a facilitator, enabling the elderly to access the products through these identified startups. And the ministry has designed a SAGE program as per the suggestion of the Empower Committee on Startups for the elderly to solicit the involvement of youth and their innovative ideas for elderly care. Then friends, so what is the need of the project? So as per the survey, the share of elders as a percentage of the total population in the country is expected to increase from around 7.5% in 2001 to almost 12.5% by 2026 and surpass 19.5% by 2025. So the need is to create a more robust elder care ecosystem in India, especially in the post-COVID phase. And keeping this need in mind, an amount of Rs 100 crore has been assigned for the promotion of the silver economy. So now friends, what is the meaning of silver economy? Do you have any idea related to silver economy? Anyone? What is the meaning of silver economy? Do you have any idea related to silver economy? Can you guess what is the meaning of silver economy? Anyone? So friends, now I'm going to tell you. So the silver economy includes all those economic activities, products and services designed to meet the need of the people over 50. Okay. So silver economy includes all those economic activities, products and services designed to meet the need of the people over 50. And this concept derived from the so-called silver market that emerged in Japan, and the country with the highest percentage of people over 65. And during the 1970, to refer to the senior market brings together sector as a diverse as health, banking, automotive, energy, housing, telecommunication, leisure and tourism, among others. So you'll have to keep in mind silver economy is related to the senior citizen, related to the senior citizen over 50 years. And friends, there's also one term, Geron, technology. So Geron technology originated from a mix of gerontology and technology, which includes various technical systems and solutions to help the elderly and or their caregivers perform basic duties. So please keep in the mind. Now next topic is friend. I have told you SAGE project, discovery of new enzyme for cell stability. Discovery of new enzyme for the cell stability. So please keep in the mind. This is very important. So now let's discuss. This is very important. So what is this topic? So let's discuss. So friends, first of all, the enzyme is named as LDTF. What? LDTF. So this is very important. LDTF. So what is the name? LDTF. Maybe UPSC asked question related to this. So please, you'll have to keep in the mind. This is very important. I have told you. Then friends, let's discuss. First of all, friends, I have just a minute. So what is the name? LDTF. And what is the area of action? So cell wall of gram negative bacteria has an outer membrane and an inner membrane, and in between these two layers, okay, a layer of you can say peptoglycan, okay, glycan and polymer of amino acid, and sugar is also found. Sugar is also found, and a lipoprotein is known to link the outer membrane to the layer of you can say peptoglycan. And what will be the function of this enzyme? So let's discuss. So the newly discovered enzyme LDTF could cleave the lipoprotein from you can say peptidoglycan, and this enzyme plays a vital role in formation of covalent linkage between the bacterial outer membrane and an inner polymer layer of peptide, you can say peptidode, ऐसे कह सकते हैं peptidoglycan, that protects bacteria from environmental stress. So absence of LDTF enhance growth effects and increase the peptidoglycan lipoprotein linkage in the bacteria. And you will have to keep in mind only one thing, what is the name of the new enzyme? So you will have to keep in mind LDTF. What is the new name of the enzyme? LDTF. And after that you will have to keep in mind few points, or also you can say what is the few points. Most important point is the such LDTF mediated modulation of the cell walls gives bacteria flexibility and survival advantage fluctuating condition. And what will be the significance? So the study will help understand the fundamental bacterial cell wall biology and identify alternate drug targets for the development of new antimicrobials. New antimicrobials. This is important. Let's discuss the next thing. What is the meaning of gram positive bacteria? So gram positive bacteria is a single layer smooth cell wall, and it is a thick layer of peptidoglycan, and it can also be multi-layered, and the outer membrane is absent. You will have to keep in mind. And these bacteria retain the crystal violet color after they are washed with the acetone or alcohol, and appear as purple color under the microscope after gram staining. Then they also gram negative bacteria. So it is positive layer. It often single layered peptidoglycan, and the outer membrane is present. Then friends, these bacteria do not retain the stain color after washing with acetone or alcohol, and appear as pink color under the microscope after gram staining. Then there is a news related to Sardar Sarovar, so you'll have to keep in mind there is a news related to Sardar Sarovar. This is very, very important. So let's discuss about the Sardar Sarovar project, because this is very important. Maybe UPSC ask a question related to this, so you'll have to keep in the mind. Sardar Sarovar Dam. So Sardar Sarovar Dam release about 103 million acre feet water from irrigation between 1st April and 31st May, and in its command area of 21.29 lakh hectare. So this is the context, and it is called the lifeline of Gujarat, and visually it does not release water during summer irrigation. So what are the important details on Sardar Sarovar Dam? So this friends, please keep in the mind this important terminal dam built on Narmada at Kevadia in Gujarat, Narmada district, and Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat and Rajasthan. You can say covered by the Sardar Sarovar Dam. And a vision of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. The foundation stone of the project was laid out by the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on 5th April 1961. And the Narmada Water Dispute Tribunal was created in 1969 to decide the fate of KP 7. And actually, 35 billion cubic meters of water available for consumption from the dam, but would receive 50%. Rajasthan, Maharashtra would be eligible for receiving project in 1988. In 1988, so you have to be in the mind. 1988. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and friends, let's discuss Narmada. So Narmada is a river, okay, and the largest river of Peninsula. Okay, Peninsula, and Amarkantak of mountain in Amarkantak range. Okay, Amarkantak range in you take Madhya Pradesh. Okay, Narmada is the largest river in the country and the largest one Gujarat, and it traverses Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and reaches the top. And total length of the coast is 1,300 kilometers, while the length of dam side is 1,163 kilometers. There is also, friends, Narmada Basin. Okay, so the total basin area of the river is 97,400 square kilometer. 97,400, okay, square kilometers. So this is the river basin of Narmada River, and 85,858 square kilometer in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, 858 in MP. In MP, so you'll have to keep in the mind in MP. Then, friends, there is 1658 square kilometer in Maharashtra. 16, keep in the mind. Okay, 1658 in Maharashtra. Then there is 9894. Okay, 9894. So you'll have to keep in the mind in Gujarat. In Gujarat. Okay. Then the drainage area up to dam site is 88,000 square kilometer. And the mean, mean annual rainfall in the basin is 112 centimeter. Okay, mean rainfall, औसत वर्षा. Okay, mean rainfall 112 centimeter. So you'll have to keep in the mind. Okay, then friends, let's discuss the next topic. New drugs. Okay, Alzheimer's उसके लिए जो है आया है, इसको तो प्लीज सारी चीज आपको ध्यान में, जो न्यू ड्रग आता है उसको so just a minute, friends. So the United States approved now for target of sold and new 2000 only to solve the so drugs. Drug A can Numa with brand name Adulum, which is a monoclonal antibody that designed to reduce also a reported side effect of the drug, and it is a novel drug that is designed only to slow the progression of Alzheimer and not a cure. Okay, please keep in the mind. Sorry friends, there was a technical problem. Okay, then friends, there is also Alzheimer disease. What is Alzheimer disease? So Alzheimer disease is the most common type of dementia. It affects tens of millions of people worldwide, and this number is rising dramatically. And the social and economic burden of Alzheimer disease is high. Forgetfulness and memory problem are often early symptoms, but as the illness progresses, patients tend to become confused, maybe lose their way around familiar places, and have difficulties with planning and completing simple tasks. So what is the causes? So the amyloid hypothesis proposed, okay, alpha main cause of the disease, and the misleading. So you'll have to keep in mind, okay, the misleading of the extracellular, okay, AB protein. You can say, okay, just a minute. Yes. So yes, so now I'm going to tell you about the, you can say ki Alzheimer disease. I have, okay, told you about the amyloid hypothesis proposed, okay, B amyloid AB as the fibrillary tangles cause memory loss and confusion and result in personality and cognitive decline over time. Okay, so this is related to Alzheimer disease. I have told you. Then friends, this new topic, India elect to UN Economic and Social Council for 2022-2024 terms. So you'll have to keep in the mind, this is very, very important. So I have told you. So let's discuss, okay, so important points related to this. So what is the important for India, and what is the, okay, important topics related to this? Friends, we'll cover, okay, so do you have any doubt?